Welcome back to another episode of Titans of Foodservice. I'm your host, Nick Portillo, and today is a special treat as I'm about to introduce to you an absolute culinary maestro. Chef Barb Colucci, talk about a trailblazer in the food game. Her expertise ranges from executive chef consulting to research and development and innovation, and her journey in the food service industry has been nothing short of spectacular. She's traveled through full-service restaurants, quick-service restaurants, and even ventured into the realm of manufacturing. The impact she's had it's no joke. From the big guns like working with IHOP to Shakey's, El Pollo Loco, to the heavyweights of manufacturing like Coca-Cola, Horizon Food Group, and Kagome. She's definitely left her mark. And let's not forget about her knack for creating diverse and appealing culinary experiences, crafting menus for places like Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, and dreaming up exciting concepts like churro sticks. Chef Barb's journey is a testament to her unwavering commitment to culinary excellence and innovation. Whether she's rebooting systems, whipping up new menus, or conjuring up recipes for global brands like Nutella Cafe and Del Taco, she's always raising the bar. You're in for a real treat today as we dive into the incredible insights and experiences of Chef Barb. She's not just a chef. She's a force in the in the culinary world, shaking things up and redefining how we look at the art and science of food creation. So without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Chef Barb, a true titan of food service. All right, Chef Barb, welcome to the Titans of Foodservice podcast. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on and meet with me.
Thanks for having me, Nick. This is great.
Of course. Today is Halloween. Do you have any special plans for the evening?
Well, I'm going to go with some of my friends and trick or treat with their kids. So it should be fun.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I want to start off with a fiery 5 food service questions. Are you ready?
Sure.
And the first one is around Halloween candy. So it's a rank. So rank these 5 candies that you'd most like to receive this evening as a trick-or-treater without knowing what comes next. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. The first one is candy corn.
Number 1.
All right. Me too. Tootsie Rolls.
Could be number 2. I love Tootsie Rolls.
Me too. Do you like the flavored ones, like the blue pack and the blue and the green?
No.
Just the traditional.
Just the chocolate, and it could be in a pop, too.
Love that. Next one is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
5.
Snickers.
4.
And then Skittles.
Well, I guess 3.
So you've got candy corn as 1, Tootsie Roll at 2, Skittles at 3, Snickers at 4, and Reese's Peanut Butter Cups at 5. That's a pretty good list.
Perfect.
Okay. If you could invite 3 famous people to a dinner that you would prepare, who would they be and what would you prepare?
Oh, gosh. That's a great question, Nick. Probably Barbra Streisand would be 1.
Okay.
Number 2 would probably be, it's kind of a hard one. I love singers. I would probably invite actually Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'd invite all of them. I'm such a music fan that I would love to just be in the same room with these folks. And I've seen them all in concert for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And probably Anthony Bourdain.
Anthony Bourdain, that's a heck of a lineup.
It is a heck of a lineup, isn't it? How fun would that be?
I think the conversation would be a lot of fun.
It would be. It would be fantastic. What would I make? I would definitely make. I for all my dinners for special people. I make fresh pasta.
Amazing. I just made fresh pasta for the first time a few weeks ago. I was in Italy, actually, in Florence with my wife, and we signed up for a pasta making class and got to make fresh pasta, which was amazing. I mean, it tasted so good too, so fresh. Because I'm used to whatever we get at the store out of the
Yeah, yeah.
box, and it
And
was nice to have a
so
change of
fun.
pace.
So fun, right? And you get to learn a skill that really it's not very hard to do. It's just a little time consuming,
That's right.
and it's
That's right.
got just a few ingredients in it.
I didn't realize how few ingredients and how easy it would be. You're right. It was a little time consuming. And I would
Yeah.
imagine, like, if you're in a restaurant mass producing or mass preparing
Yeah,
fresh
yeah.
pasta, it might get difficult. But for just a dinner for my wife and I, it really wasn't too bad.
Awesome.
Okay, next question.
Okay.
It's on the topic of traveling. So, what's one dish you've had while traveling that you wish more people knew about?
Oh, it's a good question. Geez. I've traveled extensively in Italy because my family lives there.
Mhm.
And there's so many different fishes that people don't get here that I really love. So there's different toppings that you could put on, and it's because I eat pizza, and I know it's not very, you know,
I love
very.
pizza.
I know, but it's just pretty standard. But in Italy, it's fantastic, and there's so many toppings that they put on it. I personally like whitefish, anchovies on my pizza. And a lot of people just don't try it. And I think it's really something that you should. It's called in a lot of European countries, especially Spain, it's called tins. I don't know if you've heard that before, Nick, but
No, tins?
tins. It's the tins that the fish are in, like anchovies, um,
Oh, okay.
different little white fishes, and they actually sustainably catch these because there's so many of them that they've learned how to sustainably catch these fish and reproduce, at the same time, kind of being farmed, and they're in abundance, and they're really great. I know a few restaurants that actually serve these, and
Yeah,
they're called tins. It's really fun.
interesting. I've never heard of the term tins. I've
Yeah.
never even had anchovies on my pizza. I think just maybe out of fear of how it's going to
Oh,
taste. But
don't be fearful. It's really fantastic.
okay, good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, that would be one of my faves, and it's something that not everybody has, Nick. It's like you're saying, you're kind of fearful of it. Don't be it. There, it's fantastic on it because it brings such a savory flavor to it. It's not like umami flavor, that deep um, savoriness. It's a different savoriness, and it's got the oils around it. It's so good.
Wow. Do you know any restaurants off the top of your head that serve it?
I do. Well, there's one in Spain. And I was just trying to remember the name, and I
Okay.
can't remember it. But there is one in Laguna, that restaurant that my friend owns, Lumberyard.
Yeah, right there on the corner.
Yes, right there in the corner.
I've always wanted to eat there. I've never gone there.
Food is
I go all the time
fantastic.
to the place across the street. It's called Slice. It's
Well,
a pizza place.
he owns Slice.
Oh, he owns Lumberyard and Slice?
Yes.
Ah,
So
okay, good to know. I'm gonna have to put
so
that
so
on
I
the
used to
list.
work with him. He used to own a restaurant 30 years ago. Oysters in Corona del Mar.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
used to be right on that corner. I think there's a Mexican restaurant there now. It's been a minute.
Avila's.
It what?
Is it Avila's El Ranchito?
Yes, yeah, it is. It is. So it used to be oysters, and I've known him ever since then because I used to work the oyster bar and shuck oysters all day and night.
Amazing.
I know.
Amazing.
So yeah, you definitely have to try it. He has, let me think, Nick. He's got 30, I think it's 38 tins on that particular menu. It's actually separate from his other menu.
38 tins.
From all over. Most of them are from Patagonia, and he has different varieties and different uh, uh, things in the can that are he marinates them or they marinate them with. It could be olive oil. It could be olive oil and lemon. It could be tomato and olive oil. There's different um, herbs and spices and flavors that they put in these tins. It's pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Try it.
I mean, I'm absolutely gonna have to try that place very soon. I've always wanted to, but now I definitely have a reason to go.
Okay, good.
What would you say is this is a fun question. What's the weirdest or most unusual food combination you've ever tried that turned out surprisingly delicious?
Oh, huh. The weirdest? Yeah. Hmm. Probably, and I really just didn't even think that this was going to be a good one, and it was good. I had, it was in a restaurant in Chicago, and gosh, I can't remember the name, but they use bone marrow in the sauce for a pasta sauce because apparently I eat pasta a lot, and it was surprisingly good because I just didn't think it would be good because bone marrow typically you're going to want to eat it. You know, it's delicate, right? And they put bone marrow in it. Trying to think what herbs were in there. It wasn't basil. It might have been rosemary, but it was kind of a delicate sauce too. It was a red sauce. So
Okay.
I was surprised at that.
Yeah, you're making me hungry for sure.
What? Okay.
In your work experience, when you worked at Del Taco or
Mhm.
Shakey's, is there one menu item that you're most proud of or that sticks out to you?
Well, sure. There's actually two. There's one at each of those. And Nick, I've worked at so many chains, and
Yeah,
ask your dad. I
that's
work.
right.
I work for him. But Del Taco, I'm really proud of, and it's still on the menu, and has been since I was there in 2013. Is the Epic Cali Burrito.
Oh, and what's in an epic Cali burrito?
So it's chicken. It's green sauce. Well, they keep changing it, but it's chicken, green sauce, cheese, um, tomato, French fries, and sometimes a queso sauce that they'll put inside. Like they'll switch out. It's really really simple, but it's really really good.
Wow. Let's go into your work experience as a
Sure.
chef. I around creating an item like the epic Cali burrito. I, I would imagine that you have to look at cost and
Always.
raw materials and things
Hmm.
like that when producing
Yep.
products for someone like Del Taco or Shakey's or some of these large chains you've worked for.
Hmm.
And how do you map all of that out, or do you have other
Right.
people within your department that help with that?
No. So typically, Nick, leadership or whoever is could be CMO. That's giving direction on what they would like to see. They'll give us, let's just say I'm building a bowl. How about that? So I'm building a bowl, and they said, okay, so you could build it only with a 30% margin. So I actually have to reverse build this bowl. So I have to think about the size of the bowl first, right? And actually the material of the bowl because it's included in the total margin. So I would start with the bowl. Is the bowl 3 cents? Let's just say. So now I'm already 3 cents down, right? For the lid, for the lid in the bowl. Then I have to think about the fill. Am I going to fill it with rice? Am I going to fill it with beans? How much rice and beans am I going to use? And then there's another cost associated with that. And then I just build until I hit the 30% margin or less, and then I see what that looks like. It it's a constant process, and you do it over and over and over again until you hit something that you think is good enough to show leadership, right? So it may be 5 bowls, right? So I've come up with five different type bowls. 30% margin or less based on their direction. It's definitely a science because you have to continually weigh products, right? And figure out, okay, is it going to fit in the bowl? Is it too much? Can I take a quarter ounce off? Can I add a half ounce here? Can I add, a little bit more here? So yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's really fun.
It sounds like a lot of work. How did you learn how to do that?
You know, um, I probably learned it working for your dad, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Working at the broker, Food Sales West. We're talking back in the day, right? And he actually hired me to be one of the chefs there. And this was in, I'm going to say, the early '90s, a long time ago. I I was a personal chef before then. I was working at a few restaurants, and I really wanted to learn more about food service. And I thought a broker would be the perfect place to learn, and it was. So I learned from folks that were already there. I learned from some of the salespeople. I learned from some of the vendors. You know as well as I do that there's so many vendors and they're so knowledgeable, and they passed on so much information to me and learnings, right? Weighing everything, making sure flavors match. I was really good at flavors already, but you know what? You can't beat that experience.
Yeah, you're totally right too. And on the broker side, to your point, there's so many different vendors and products you can work with, and in any one vendor, they may have thousands of items. So you
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
have the freedom to be able to play around and try different combinations.
Uh-huh. Well, and they're really good mentors also. Like they want you to sell their product. So they're going to do everything that they can to help you sell their product, right? And if I was stumbling a little bit, I would just ask them, and they would help me. Of course, I took it beyond what I learned, but everyone finds their way, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Coming out of the brokerage business, how did you get into the restaurant side?
Well, so working for your dad again, um, I was recruited to Marie Callender's. They came to me and asked me if I wanted to be their manager of culinary. I think, gosh, Nick, I think it was in late '90s. It's because I worked for your dad for about 3 years, I think.
Hmm.
And then I was recruited to work for Marie Callender's, and I worked with a fellow named Armando. Your dad knows well, and yeah, he taught me a lot too. It was really fun, and I think I gained a lot more experience, working on the restaurant side because I was doing so much legwork more, right? I wasn't developing as much in the beginning. I was doing a lot of prep. I was doing a lot of setup. I was meeting with a lot of vendors. I was doing a lot of mixing. I was learning about pies. I was learning about the grill, how to get really fast on the grill, right? How to work the fryer, how to look at different things. So yeah, that's what happened. And I haven't left the business since. It's been pretty cool.
Do you think those skills you learned at Food Sales West and Marie Callender's, were those transferable across all of your experiences? Because you've worked with a lot of chains, a lot of very well-known concepts.
Uh-huh. Yes, 100%. And you just get better, right? You just get better because there's different uh, requirements from different folks. I I worked for Change being on their payroll, and then I went into consulting in 2007, Nick. Kind of almost
Okay.
right before the recession. It was kind of already hitting already, and so I went into consulting, and I consulted for almost 20 years. So it gave me the opportunity to work for a lot of people, right? A lot of different concepts. I went into the manufacturing side. I learned manufacturing, CPG, and retail, a lot of that, how to develop for that, how to how to sell for that. I'm kind of a salesman too, right?
Yeah,
Chefs are salesmen because they always want to sell you what they're making, right? No matter what it
absolutely.
is. It
Yeah,
doesn't
that
matter
makes sense.
who, right? It could be leadership, it could be, a customer. But yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about food science as well. I'm not a food scientist, but I know enough. I know enough to call call things out, and if I need help, I'll call someone else. But you learn a tremendous amount working for different chains.
Oh, totally. On the consulting side, we see consultants in our market. We're here
Yeah.
in California, Nevada, that work with various amounts of different concepts, and it's always interesting to see what different things they're working on. What do your engagements look like with the chains that you've worked with in the past on the consulting side?
Um, well, so when I first started out, Nick, there were like no consultants. So I was really lucky, to be able to consult because everybody wanted somebody, especially during the recession, because it was really terrible. I was thriving during the recession because people were cutting jobs then, right? And they needed somebody to come in and help them. So, but now there's so many consultants. So if this is the question that you're asking, Nick, there there aren't as many positions available as there was then. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It because all the restaurants now have pretty much full time full time folks. But what I am seeing is that some of those big chains in that are will hire a consultant because they're kind of stuck. Does that make sense also?
yeah.
That they're kind of stuck. Like it's like you have a chain that's 50 years old or 40 years old and that, but but you can only develop so much, right? You can only keep turning over ingredients so many times.
Hmm.
And it takes a lot.
So it's probably refreshing to work with yourself. You could bring in new ideas, new energy, and new way to look at it as well. Sometimes we're too close to our business and we may be missing things. So have someone like yourself who has all of this experience, the connections, the know-how, it probably, you put all that together and it's a nice compliment.
Yeah, I love it. I love it still. Been in this business, now for 30 something. I don't even want to count anymore, but um, 30 something years. But look, and I mentor a lot of kids and stuff, in high schools. And they always ask me, they go, why are you still in this business so long? And I go, because I wake up every day and I think about food. I love what I do. There's hard days, Nick. There's difficult days, but then there's really great days. And you go, this is why I'm in this business because because of a day like this, because I have a success and people like what I do. And it's hard. Food service is hard. It's hard work, but if you stick it out, it could be really, really rewarding. I love it.
I can only speak from a viewpoint of someone who's been in the food service industry pretty much my entire, not pretty much, my entire career.
Uh-huh.
But it seems like, from my view, that when you get into food service, it's hard to get out of it for those exact reasons. I don't know how other industries operate if people come in and out, but I feel like once you're in food service, you're in it. You like riding those highs. Yeah, it is a tough industry to be in for sure. There's a lot of competition and So, especially on the culinary side, many, many hours, maybe working
Yeah,
weekends. Um, but a lot of people get in and they never get out.
100%. A lot of people that kind of started in this business were working in a restaurant, waiting tables, making money that way, and it kind of sucks you in. And then, I was going to school, culinary school, and waiting tables at the same time, and all of that sucks you in because you want to make money because you have to live, right? But you're going to school at the same time, and you try to find a balance, but you keep doing it. You just keep doing it over and over and over again, and then you get to a point where you go, I really do like this. It's not always about the money. And it isn't. It isn't always about the money. It's about your passion. I mean, it's good to make money,
Of
seriously,
course.
but 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 it's your passion. And I even tell these kids the same thing. And I said, it's not always going to be about trying to strive to make more money, make more money, make more money. It will come if you do a good job and you put your head down and you learn and you keep doing what you're doing and just create your time off and just look for different ways of handling food and seeing what you come up with. It will pay off.
Absolutely. When you look back on your career in the food service industry, is there any stories or moments that come to your mind that was a positive or maybe a big failure that you learned from, or maybe some funny, anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, I've had a lot of failures too, for sure. um, but I've had a lot of success in this business. um, I think so. When I was working for Shakey's, Shakey's Pizza, they gave me kind of control of almost everything. So I was doing purchasing, I was doing QA, I was doing, I really had to step it up. Culinary. And I developed a lot of their pizzas that are still on their menu to this day. And this was in 2000, I'm going to say 2003 or so, Nick. Um,
Wow.
yeah, there's still three pizzas on their menu that are haven't left, and they're still really good sellers. I'm really proud of that, and I also saved them a lot of money. I learned on the purchasing side how how to negotiate. I negotiate really well. I don't know. It's a skill. It's a skill, but it's things that you learn along the way. I'm not just a chef. I could do other things, right? And
Absolutely.
a lot of chefs can go into other areas. Some go all the way into marketing, right? Some go some go into purchasing, because that's just a little bit better skill for them. But there's lots of ways to take your talent for sure.
Yeah,
It's a discipline type job.
absolutely. And to speak to Shakey's, I love Shakey's. There's one actually right by our office in Brea,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's
I,
been
I
there
know
a long
exactly
time.
where that one's at. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. The Shakey's has done a nice job over the last however long they've been around. Probably, what, maybe 20, 30 years, maybe more.
No, 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 no. 59 years, I think it's at. They're
I
at.
stand corrected, 59 years.
Close, close.
What tips or advice would you give to somebody that would one day want to be like you, working as a chef in restaurants, building out menus, doing negotiation? What advice would you give to them?
Gosh, I mean, there's so much, Nick. I would say pay attention, listen to people, listen to people when they're talking to you, um, and uh, work work hard. Make sure again that if you're passionate, you're gonna you're gonna develop when you're at home. You're gonna look for other different foods, but for sure, but for sure, you have to be passionate. You have to wake up every day and think about food. Think about what you could do. Think about, is this where I want to be? You know, do I want to work around food? I remember it's when I was in class one day. I wasn't feeling so good, and I mean, I was like not really feeling good. I probably had the stomach flu or something. And, and I went. The last place I wanted to be was around food, right? Because you're like, okay, my stomach's upset. I went in, I pushed through it, and it taught me that I could do anything. I can really do anything, but you have to make sure that if you're going to be in this business, that you're passionate, right? And don't expect a lot of money up front. You'll probably make it if you stick with it later down the road, but you know, you have to want to be in this business. Period.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, Chef Barb, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast and sharing your story and humoring me at the beginning with some of these funny questions. I know they're some weird ones. But thank you so much for taking time to come meet with me. I really, really appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it too. Take care. Say hi to your dad for me.
I will.
All right.